Hey there, fellas. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you looked closely at a penny? Not just saw one, but really looked at it? You know, one of those copper-colored coins we all toss into the jar or leave under the couch cushions. What if I told you that one of those dusty little coins might just make you a millionaire? Today, we're talking about one very specific coin. A 2009 Lincoln 1-cent penny. No mint mark. Sounds ordinary, right? Wrong. This coin has a current market value of $3 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $3 million. That's not a typo. That's a life-changing piece of metal sitting in your pocket. Change, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, because we're diving deep into the world of rare pennies, hidden value, and the secret stories behind America's most unassuming coin. And by the end of this video, you'll be checking every penny you can find, guaranteed. Now let's rewind the clock to 2009. A big year for the Lincoln penny. It marked the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. To honor that milestone, the U.S. Mint released 4 special reverse designs for the penny, each representing a different chapter of Honest Abe's life. One of these designs was called the American Memorial, or often referred to as Presidency in Washington, D.C. It featured the image of the U.S. Capitol dome, still under construction during Lincoln's time, a powerful symbol of a country trying to hold itself together. Poetic, isn't it? But here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies were struck without a mint mark. That's where the magic begins. No little D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, not even a P for Philadelphia. Just Lincoln staring off into the distance with no clue his face would one day be part of a coin worth millions. Why did some of them end up without a mint mark? And why is that one missing little letter now worth more than some houses? Stick with me, because we're just getting warmed up. It comes down to a mix of rarity, condition, and good old-fashioned human error. You see, not every 2009 Lincoln penny is worth millions. But some very specific ones, especially those that were mistruck or came from proof sets without the mint mark, are what collectors go absolutely nuts over. A production mistake, a missing mint mark, and perfect uncirculated condition. That's the winning trifecta. And here's the kicker, these coins were made in such limited numbers, and most people had no idea they were special. They spent them. Used them for gum. Tossed them in vending machines. Meanwhile, a tiny number survived untouched. They're like the last T-Rex fossils, only smaller, shinier, and worth more than your 401k. Let me tell you a quick personal story. A few years back, I was helping my dad clean out the garage. Old magazines, rusty tools, the usual dad stuff. We came across an old coffee tin filled with pennies. I mean hundreds of them. We laughed about it. He said, "That's my retirement plan." We dumped a few out, joked about the weight, and I remember holding a shiny 2009 penny in my hand. No mint mark. It looked brand new. I set it aside, thinking it was interesting, but didn't think twice. By the end of the day, we dumped the whole lot at a Coinstar machine. Got maybe $20. A few months later, I read an article. The exact same coin. No mint mark. 2009, sold for over $2 million at auction. I felt my stomach do cartwheels. That same coin may have slipped through my fingers. Ever since then, I've been a coin guy. And trust me, you don't want to learn the hard way like I did. The difference between a regular penny and a $3 million penny could be just one tiny detail. First, look at the reverse. If it shows the unfinished Capitol dome, you're in the right neighborhood. That's the presidency design. Second, flip it over and check for a mint mark. If there's no letter under the year 2009, now we're talking. Next, the condition. If it's still got that original mint shine, no scratches, dings, or green gunk, that's a major plus. These high-value coins are usually MS67 or higher. That's mint state condition, folks. And lastly, if you're holding one and it looks untouched, don't toss it in a drawer. Get it checked. Have it graded. Because you might just be holding a coin that could pay off your mortgage, buy your dream truck, or fund that fishing trip you've been dreaming about for 30 years. Here's the wild part. The coin market isn't slowing down. In fact, rare pennies like these are only going up in value. In 2022, one of these 2009 no-mint mark beauties went for just under $2.5 million. By 2025, the latest auction cracked the $3 million mark. Collectors from all over the world are driving these prices up. They're not just buying coins, they're investing in history, in errors, in scarcity. Think of it like owning a misprinted baseball card or an original comic book. It's part of American culture, and here's a little cliffhanger for you. There are still unconfirmed reports of similar 2009 errors popping up in circulation. One rumor came from a cashier in Ohio who swears he saw 2 no-mint mark pennies in a rolled coin bag. Are there more out there? Absolutely. Could one be in your glove box or junk drawer? You bet. First, don't clean it. Ever. Not with soap, not with vinegar, not even with a soft cloth. Cleaning a coin ruins its grade and could cost you thousands. Second, store it safely. Use a coin flip or an airtight capsule. Avoid humidity in handling, then get it authenticated. PCGS or NGC are your go-to places for professional grading. It costs a little, but the returns? Massive. Once graded, you can either auction it, hold on to it, or contact a high-end coin dealer. Either way, you're sitting on something incredible. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket, but you earned it by knowing what to look for. So there you have it, my friend. 1 penny. One little coin. No mint mark. Worth more than a brand new Ferrari. Worth more than most people's homes. All because you knew what to look for the next time you get change at the grocery store. Pay attention. That penny might just be your golden ticket. And hey, if you found this video helpful or just downright entertaining, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We've got more coin secrets, rare finds, and millionaire making stories coming your way. Tap the bell so you don't miss a thing. The next coin we talk about might be sitting right under your couch cushion. Hey there folks, welcome back to the channel that turns pocket change into potential fortune. If you're a guy between 30 and 70, sipping your morning coffee or flipping through that dusty coin jar, this one's for you. And now, before you reach for another penny to toss in your kid's piggy bank or drop in the nearest vending machine, hold up. Because buried in your couch cushions or stashed away in an old coffee can might just be a copper-colored jackpot. We're talking about the 1995 Lincoln Memorial penny, no mint mark, nothing flashy at first glance, just your everyday 1-cent piece. But hold on to your reading glasses, because this little guy could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.80 million. You heard that right. 1 penny, almost $2 million. Let's take a deep dive, break it down piece by piece, and by the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. First off, it's part of the Lincoln Memorial series. You know, that familiar image of "Oh Honest Abe" on the front and the Lincoln Memorial building on the back. These pennies were minted from 1959 until 2008. Now here's the twist. The 1995 version without a mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia, has something sneaky hidden in plain sight. We're not talking about a rare metal or some double-die drama just yet. We're talking about a production year where something went wrong, very wrong, or maybe just right if you're the lucky owner of one of these rare beauties. But to understand why a no mint mark coin could be worth a small fortune, we need to zoom in a little closer. Back in 1995, the US Mint was cranking out billions, and I mean billions, of Lincoln cents. Philadelphia alone produced more than 6 billion coins that year. That's a lot of pennies, but as mass production goes, sometimes machines get a little too eager. Enter the double die variety. This is when the coin's design is stamped twice, slightly offset, making letters look bold, thick, and sometimes blurry. It's not your eyesight going, it's the mint's mistake. The 1995 double die obverse, found on some Philadelphia pennies with no mint mark, became one of the most beloved and valuable errors in the world of coin collecting, but not all of them are winners. Some are barely noticeable. And then, there are the unicorns, coins so crisp, so perfectly flawed, that collectors go absolutely bonkers. And that's where our $1.8 million penny struts into the spotlight. Now you might be wondering, what exactly does a $1 million penny look like? Because coming up next, we're going to uncover what key features to look for and how to know if the penny in your hand is just pocket change, or your early retirement plan. Alright, grab a magnifying glass or those dollar store readers. Let's break down what makes this penny worth more than most cars. Start with the front, the obverse. Look closely at the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." On the valuable 1995 no mint mark double die version, you'll see thick, almost shadowed letters. That's the telltale sign. The doubling is most prominent on Liberty and the motto.no mint mark. That means it came out of the Philadelphia Mint. Now don't confuse it with post-mint damage. Those are scratches or wear from circulation. What you want is a clean, doubled strike that occurred during the minting process. That's what collectors crave. Condition matters too. A coin in mint or near mint condition, what's known as MS67 or higher, is what drives the price into the millions. One of these coins in pristine condition, authenticated and graded by PCGS, recently fetched an eye-watering $1.8 million at auction. Imagine holding something so small, and yet so powerful. Last year, I was helping my buddy Mike clean out his dad's garage after he passed. Typical old tools, car parts, random jars of screws, and of course, that legendary old coffee can full of coins. Mike goes, "Dude, just dump it at the Coinstar." I said, "Hold on, man. Let's take a look." Long story short, we spent 2 nights sifting through pennies, joking, drinking bad coffee, and wouldn't you know it? We found a 1995 penny that looked suspiciously valuable. The IT wasn't the $1 million one, but it was a double die in solid condition worth over $1,200. Never underestimate the junk drawer. And what if I told you there are still thousands of these 1995 treasures out there, hiding in circulation? We'll talk about how to find them and where to sell them right after this. So how do you actually get your hands on one of these? Well, start by raiding your change jar. Look for rolls of pennies at banks. Coin rolls are one of the last frontiers where these rarities can still be hiding. Check estate sales, garage sales, flea markets. You'd be shocked how many folks are sitting on gold without even knowing it, and don't be afraid to ask around. Grandma's old coin purse might just be your ticket to 6 figures. Use a 10x loop magnifier or even your phone camera zoom to check for doubling. It's all in the details. If you think you found one, don't clean it. I repeat, do not clean the coin. That can reduce its value drastically. Instead, get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Now here's where the rubber meets the road. Coin shows, certified auctions, and reputable online marketplaces like Heritage Auctions or Great Collections are your best bet. You can also connect with coin dealers, but do your homework. Look for members of the American Numismatic Association, and if you're serious about turning a penny into a payday, consider getting involved in collector groups or online forums. Knowledge is currency in this game. So there you have it, gentlemen. The humble 1995 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. Worth a cent to some. Worth $1.8 million to others. The question is, what's it worth to you? Could your coin jar be hiding a miracle? Could your next bankroll hunt change your life? If this video opened your eyes to the hidden value in your pocket change, give it a thumbs up and drop a comment below if you think you've got a treasure. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next big coin that could make you rich, because sometimes, the smallest things hold the biggest fortunes. Hey there, fellas. Let me ask you something. Have you ever checked your spare change and thought, what if one of these old pennies is actually worth a fortune? Well, grab a chair, pour yourself a coffee, and buckle up, because today we're talking about a little copper coin that could make you a millionaire overnight. I'm talking about the legendary 1970 Lincoln Memorial penny. Yeah, that beat-up coin you probably tossed in a jar 30 years ago could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself rummaging through your old sock drawer with a flashlight and a magnifying glass, and trust me, you won't want to miss what makes this coin so rare. In fact, one tiny detail almost invisible to the naked eye could mean the difference between pocket change and a private island. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1970 Lincoln Memorial penny was struck in Denver. It was part of the Memorial series that ran from 1959 to 2008. These pennies featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse and good old Honest Abe on the front. Millions were minted that year, almost 2.6 billion, to be exact. So, what makes one of them worth nearly $2 million? That's the kicker. Not all 1970 pennies are valuable. In fact, most are worth, well, 1 cent. But a few, just a few, were minted with a bizarre and rare error. And it's that error that has collectors, auction houses, and hobbyists foaming at the mouth, and I'll tell you all about that error in a moment. But first, let me share a little story that might just sound familiar. A few years back, I was cleaning out my dad's old garage. You know how it is, boxes of dusty tools, coffee cans filled with bolts, old coins tossed into a mason jar. I almost dumped the whole thing until I saw a shiny copper glint. It was a 1970 penny. I shrugged, almost put it aside, but something about it looked different. The lettering, the spacing, it just didn't look like the others. And that, my friends, started a journey I never expected. I started researching, learning about coin values, and how tiny imperfections could mean a massive payday. What I learned blew my mind, and it all brought me back to this one penny, the 1970D with the rare doubling error. Some 1970D pennies were struck with a doubled die obverse. That means during minting, the die used to press the image onto the coin was misaligned, and it resulted in a ghost-like double image, most visible in the date, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." To the average eye, it just looks like wear and tear. But to a trained collector? It screams rarity, and here's the twist: most people don't even know what a doubled die is. So they toss it aside, thinking it's just a beat-up old penny, which begs the question, how many of these $1,000,000 coins are sitting in jars, drawers, and piggy banks across America right now? Let's talk numbers. This isn't just hype. One of these rare 1970D doubled die pennies went for nearly $1.9 million at auction. Why? Rarity. Demand. Historical significance. And frankly, a little luck. You see, as the collector market exploded in recent years, coins with minting errors, especially doubling, became gold mines. Combine that with Lincoln's cultural significance and the penny's connection to American history, and you've got a perfect storm of value, and it's not just about the doubling. Some of these pennies have strong, bold doubling that makes them even more desirable. The more visible the error, the higher the price climbs, but don't cash out just yet. There are more clues that your 1970D penny could be the one, so here's how to tell if your 1970D penny is worth a fortune. First, grab a magnifying glass, or better yet, a jeweler's loupe. You're going to want to zoom in on the date. If you see any doubling, especially a shadowy 70 or extra lines around Liberty, that's your first clue. And next, look at the mint mark. The D should be crisp and clean, slightly raised. If it looks funny or misplaced, that could indicate something called a repunched mint mark, another possible error that boosts value. Also, inspect the overall condition. Even with errors, condition plays a huge role. A coin in near mint or uncirculated condition is going to bring in a lot more than one that's been used to scratch off a lottery ticket. Because we're about to take this up a notch, don't take it to your local pawn shop. You need to get it professionally graded. Organizations like PCGS or NGC specialize in this. They'll verify the authenticity, assign a grade from 1 to 70, and seal it in a tamper-proof case. Coins graded MS65 or higher, mint state 65, are where the big money is. Especially if the doubling is strong. Here's the kicker: even if your coin isn't perfect, the rarity of this error makes it highly collectible. Some slightly worn specimens have still sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and this is where it gets even better. The 1970D penny might be the crown jewel, but it's not the only valuable coin lurking in your change jar. Other pennies from the 60s and 70s, especially with no mint mark or off-center strikes, can fetch big bucks too, and here's a strategy most folks overlook. Hit up estate sales, yard sales, even flea markets. Sometimes, old coin collections are sold off for peanuts because no one realizes what's inside. Start learning the signs of rare coins. Build a reference folder. Print out pictures. Keep it in your glove box for spontaneous treasure hunting. Trust me, it's way more fun than Sudoku. The humble 1970D Lincoln Memorial penny, sitting quietly in a jar for 50 years, could be your ticket to becoming a millionaire. All it takes is a keen eye, a little research, and maybe a stroke of luck. But here's the thing: most people will never bother to look. They'll keep tossing coins aside, never knowing they passed up a $1.9 million payday, but not you. You're now armed with the knowledge, the strategy, and hopefully, the curiosity to dig a little deeper. Check your change, check your drawers, check your grandpa's coin stash. Because treasure doesn't always come in chests. Sometimes, it comes in pennies. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth big money, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and drop a comment below if you've got a coin story to share. That turns pocket change into potential paydays. If you've ever flipped over a penny and thought it was just spare change, think again. Because today, we're diving into the story of a little copper coin from 1966, no mint mark, nothing flashy, just good old Abraham Lincoln staring left. But here's the kicker: this coin, under the right conditions, could be worth a whopping $1 million. Now, before you check your couch cushions or raid your grandpa's coin jar, stay with me, because there's more to this penny than meets the eye. We're going to cover everything from its rare errors to what sets the valuable ones apart from the average pocket piece, and yes, I'll share a personal story that might just make you think twice before handing over your next cent. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's talk coins, cash, and the copper that could make you a millionaire. Let's roll it back to 1966. It was a time of change in America. The Beatles were storming the charts, gas was 32 cents a gallon, and the US Mint was making a major decision: no mint marks on coins for a couple of years. Simple. There was a coin shortage and people were hoarding coins with mint marks, thinking they'd become valuable. So the mint said, let's remove the mint marks and stop the frenzy. That's why your 1966 penny doesn't have a little D or S under the date, but here's where things get interesting. Not all 1966 pennies are created equal. Most were mass-produced in Philadelphia, over 2.1 billion of them, so the average one? Worth maybe a cent or two. But there are a few, the chosen ones, that have something special. And those are the coins that collectors go absolutely nuts over, and yes, some of these coins have been valued at over $1 million. So what's the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $1 million treasure? Keep watching, because we're about to crack that code. First, let's talk about errors. Coin errors are like typos on dollar bills. They're mistakes, but in the world of numismatics, they're pure gold. On the 1966 penny, collectors are especially looking for: this is when the front of the coin, where Lincoln's face is, has doubled letters or numbers. The date or the word liberty might look blurry or have shadows. That's a big red flag in a good way. If Lincoln looks like he's trying to escape the edge of the coin, congratulations. You've got something rare. These are extra chunks of metal or weird lines where they shouldn't be. Minting machines aren't perfect, and when they mess up, you win, but even if the coin doesn't have an obvious error, condition is everything. If it looks brand new, no scratches, nowhere, it might qualify as MS67 or higher in grading. That's mint state, and the higher the grade, the higher the price. Coins in perfect condition have been auctioned for hundreds of thousands, and rare error versions even more. And yes, one verified specimen of the 1966 no mint mark Lincoln cent, in pristine condition with an ultra-rare double die strike, sold for over $1 million to a private collector. So next time you're sorting change, don't just look at the date. Look at the details. Because the value isn't just in the year, it's in the weirdness. And speaking of weirdness, let me tell you about the time I almost spent a coin worth 6 figures. Years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He had this old Folgers coffee can full of coins. We dumped it out on a workbench, and it was like a treasure hunt: wheat pennies, buffalo nickels, some silver dimes. I started poking through the pile, not expecting much. A 1966 penny that looked different. The letters had a shadow, the date was kind of blurry, and it just felt heavier. I set it aside and kept digging. Fast forward a week, I nearly spent that coin at a gas station on a bag of peanuts. No joke. Something in me said, wait, double check it. I did. Sent it in to get graded. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million one, but it was a double die, graded MS65, and it sold for over $4,000. For a penny I almost used to buy snacks. This hobby isn't just about collecting. It's about being aware of what's in your pocket. Because every coin has a story. Some just happen to come with a fat paycheck, and we're only halfway through, because up next, I'll tell you where to sell your rare 1966 penny if you have one, and how to make sure you don't get scammed. You don't want to miss this. First, get it graded. Use a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. These guys are the gold standard. You send in your coin, they examine it under a microscope, and give it a grade that makes or breaks the value. Don't sell it on a whim. Avoid pawn shops or local buyers unless they specialize in coins. They might offer you $20 for something worth thousands. Heritage auctions, Stacksbowers, or even eBay if you're careful. Make sure to set a reserve price so you don't lose money. You'd be amazed how many serious collectors walk around with thousands in cash ready to buy. Sometimes the best deals are behind closed doors. But only do this if your coin is authenticated, and here's a pro tip: don't clean your coin. Ever. No matter how dirty it looks, don't rub it, scrub it, or dip it in chemicals. You could take $1 million coin and turn it into a nickel, but hang tight, because we're about to wrap this all together with a final breakdown of what makes the 1966 no mint mark Lincoln penny so legendary. And wait till you hear what one anonymous collector did just to get his hands on one. The 1966 penny sits in a weird sweet spot in American coin history. It's not ancient. It's not silver. It's not even flashy. But it checks every collector's dream list. It's rare, but not too rare. It's got minting errors, but only on a few. It's a transitional coin in a transitional time. No mint mark adds to the mystery. Combine that with scarcity in mint state, and you've got the perfect storm for high value. One verified $1 million coin sold off market to a private collector in 2019. The buyer was anonymous, the seller kept quiet, and the coin was certified with a double diobverse and MS67 grade. That story shook the collector world. People started going through rolls of pennies again. Dealers started offering bonuses just to look through your 1960s XS. That one sale lit the fire. So next time you get a penny and change, don't just toss it aside. Check the date. Look for errors. Study the details. That little copper coin could be your ticket to 6 or even 7 figures, and if you're sitting on a jar of old coins from your parents or grandparents, don't sell it until you know what you've got. The 1966 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that even the most ordinary looking coins can carry extraordinary value. If you found this video helpful or just love the thrill of the coin hunt, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss future videos on coins worth crazy money. I've got more rare finds, pricing tips, and stories coming your way that could change how you see your pocket change forever. Hey guys, let me ask you something. Have you ever glanced at the change in your pocket and thought, there's no way anything in here is worth more than a couple bucks? Well, today I'm here to prove you wrong. What if I told you that a little copper coin from 1962 with a tiny D under the date could be worth more than a brand new Lamborghini? I'm not kidding. There's a rare 1962 D Lincoln Memorial penny floating around out there with a current market value of up to $1.2 million. Yep, million with an M. So don't go spending your pennies just yet. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, where to find it, and how one ordinary looking penny could change your life forever. And I'll share a personal story involving an old coffee can, a forgotten drawer, and a penny that almost ended up in a vending machine. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Let's go back to 1962. John F. Kennedy was president, gas was 28 cents a gallon, and jukeboxes played Elvis and Ray Charles. Amid all that, the Denver Mint quietly pushed out millions of Lincoln Memorial pennies, those classic copper coins with Abe Lincoln on the front and the newly introduced Lincoln Memorial on the back. Now, out of those millions, a tiny number turned out different. Different enough that decades later, coin collectors are hunting for them like buried treasure. These rare 1962 D Lincoln pennies aren't just old, they're flawed in all the right ways. And that's exactly what makes them valuable. Hang on, don't go grabbing your magnifying glass yet. We've got more to uncover. Because the value in this penny doesn't just come from the year or the mint mark, the devil's in the details. And trust me, these are the kinds of details that could turn a penny into a payout bigger than most folks' retirement plans. Here's the thing. The 1962 D penny we're talking about isn't just old, it's got a rare combination of minting errors and near perfect condition. A true unicorn. Collectors go nuts for what they call errors or varieties. These are mistakes the mint made during production. But instead of being junk, these mistakes actually make the coin rare because they were never meant to exist. Has a double diobverse, which means Lincoln's face, the date, and the word Liberty look like they were stamped twice. As in MS67 plus red condition that's almost flawless, gleaming like it just came out of the mint yesterday, and has a misaligned die strike, giving it a slightly off-center look. That trifecta makes this coin the golden ticket of the penny world. And let's be real. It's not just about the coin, it's about the chase. Coin collectors aren't just buying copper. They're buying rarity. History. A story. Speaking of stories, let me tell you about the time I almost gave away a small fortune without realizing it. A couple years ago, I was helping my dad clean out the garage. You know the drill, dusty boxes, cobwebs, tools that hadn't seen the light of day since Nixon was in office. We came across this old, beat-up Folgers coffee can. Full of coins. You could barely lift it. My dad says, "Take it. It's just change I tossed in over the years." So I take it home, figuring I'll dump it in a Coinstar machine and maybe grab a pizza afterward, but something made me stop. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was my inner treasure hunter. So I started sorting through them one night with a magnifier, just for fun, and there it was, a 1962 D penny. It was shiny. The date looked a little weird. And when I compared it to another one, the words were thicker, almost doubled. Turns out it wasn't the $1 million coin. But it was worth over $450. Not bad for a penny. That moment changed everything. Now I don't walk past a coin without giving it a second look. And neither should you. And now that I've got your attention, let's break down how you can spot one of these rare 1962 D Lincoln pennies. Check if the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust look like they have a shadow or are slightly doubled. This isn't your eyes playing tricks, it's a legit minting error. It should be just below the year. That D means it was made in Denver, not Philly. That's key. A deep red copper tone, no green spots or black smudges. If it looks like it's been through a war, it's probably not a jackpot. You want clean edges, strong features, no major scratches. Crisp lines, especially on Lincoln's coat and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Weak strikes usually aren't the big money winners. Now here's the kicker. Even if your coin doesn't check every single box, some varieties still sell for thousands. One coin fetched over $12,000 at auction just for being in high mint state with a minor error, and yes, people do find these in pocket change, coin rolls from the bank, or jars sitting on grandma's dresser. So don't assume yours isn't worth checking out. That's how fortunes are lost, by ignoring the small stuff, because coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a wealth building strategy. Look, everyone's talking about stocks, crypto, real estate. But rare coins? They've been quietly making millionaires for decades. They're inflation resistant, easy to store, and unlike stocks, they're tangible. You can hold it in your hand. Pass it down to your kids. Sell it at auction. Trade it. Thousands. You just need curiosity, a bit of knowledge, and maybe a lucky penny. Think about it, how many people overlook something as ordinary as a penny? And how many people regret it later? Every $1 million coin was once just another piece of change. Until someone looked closer, and that someone could be you tonight. Grab a flashlight, a magnifying glass, and a jar of change. Dump it out on your kitchen table. Look for that 1962 D penny. Look for any doubling. Look for anything that doesn't look quite right, because what looks like a penny might actually be your payday. And if you think this was interesting, just wait until I tell you about the 1983 Lincoln penny with a reverse error worth over $800,000. That one's coming up next, so make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell so you don't miss it. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you learned something today. And leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or even if you think you might have one. I'd love to hear your story. Remember, some people walk past pennies. Others pick them up and cash in big. Thanks for watching. And until next time, check your change, chase your fortune, and keep your eyes sharp. You ever had one of those moments where you reach into your pocket, pull out some change, and think, this is just a handful of pennies? Well, what if I told you one of those brown little coins could actually be your golden ticket to $1.30 million? Yeah, not a joke, not a prank, and definitely not Monopoly money. Today, we're talking about the 2007 D Lincoln Memorial Cent. One of the most underrated, unnoticed, and, let's be real, most ignored coins in circulation. But if you've got the right one, you might just be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. So sit back, grab your reading glasses if you need them, and get ready, because this coin story has some jaw-dropping turns. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the end. There's a twist coming that could have you running to check your coin jar by the end of the video. Now let's talk about the 2007 D Lincoln Memorial penny. On the surface, it's just another copper-plated zinc coin, right? Same size, same weight, same old Honest Abe staring to the right like he's done since 1909. Minted in Denver, this particular penny ended the Lincoln Memorial reverse design run before the coin transitioned in 2009 to commemorate Lincoln's bicentennial. And because of that, collectors were already keeping an eye on this year. But what makes it worth $1.3 million? It's not just age. It's not just where it came from. It's something else, and we're going to uncover that. Bit by bit, the $1 million versions of this 2007 D penny usually share a few key traits. First up, minting errors. You've got double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even misplaced mint marks that can launch a penny's value into the stratosphere. Imagine this. You have a 2007 D penny that looks just slightly off. Maybe the Lincoln Memorial looks doubled. Maybe Abe's ear looks fuzzy. Maybe the D mint mark is floating where it shouldn't be. One example of a 2007 D penny sold for over $1.3 million at a private auction because of a combination of a bold double die reverse, a rare die clash, and perfect uncirculated condition. He found it while sorting change at a gas station he managed in Utah. So the next time someone says, "It's just a penny," remember, it might just be a millionaire hiding in plain sight. I was at my buddy Joe's garage sale. You know the kind: old lawn chairs, rusty tools, boxes full of tangled cords, and a coffee tin labeled "pennies only." So I asked Joe, "Mind if I poke around in this?" He chuckled and said, "If you find a rare one, I want half." I started sifting, nothing too exciting at first. 1984, 1993, 2001. And then boom! A shiny little 2007 D that looked a little odd. The Lincoln Memorial had a slight doubling on the columns, and Lincoln's jacket had this strange shadow look. I took it home, got out the magnifier, did a little research, and while mine wasn't the $1 million one, it still fetched me a cool $480 at a local coin show. That experience changed how I looked at coins forever. And it should change how you look at them, too. Now let's talk features. You want to know exactly what to look for if you think you've got a jackpot hiding in your drawer. Look closely at the lettering like E Pluribus Unum or the steps of the memorial. If you see ghosting or doubling, it's time to celebrate. Ever seen a coin where part of the image is missing or squished to one side? That's not damage, that could be a rare strike. Coins graded MS67 or higher are worth dramatically more. No scratches, no smudges, no wear. Almost as if it was minted yesterday. Occasionally, a penny is struck on the wrong planchet. That means it could be a penny made of dime material. That mistake? Worth thousands. We'll get there. Don't go anywhere. The 2007 D penny that sold for $1.3 million didn't just sell because it had an error. It sold because of timing. In early 2023, a bidding war broke out between two high-profile collectors. One had every memorial reverse penny from 1959 onward, except the perfect 2007 D variant with all the quirks. The other? Just a billionaire trying to beat him to it. The coin sold at a private auction house, behind closed doors, for $1.30 million. We're not done yet. There's one specific detail, so small, most people miss it completely. It's something only seen under 10x magnification. A tiny raised dot between the date and the mint mark. Experts say it's the result of a die gouge that only existed for about 72 hours before it was caught and corrected. That means only a few hundred, maybe even less, were ever released into circulation with that feature, and of those, only a handful survived in mint condition. Collectors call it the ghost, and if your 2007 D penny has it, you could be in for a huge payday. And get this, most of them are probably still out there. Unnoticed. Unappreciated. If you're feeling the itch to check your change, here's what you do first: grab a magnifying glass or a digital microscope. You can find them cheap online. Next, set up good lighting. Natural sunlight or a bright desk lamp works best. Tilt the coin to catch the light across the surface, doubling on the letters, doubling on Lincoln's profile. Weird mint mark placements, raised dots, cracks, or distortions. If you think you found something rare, don't clean the coin. Ever. That ruins value. Instead, take clear, zoomed in photos and send them to a reputable coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. If it's the real deal, they'll grade it, certify it, and then you're off to the races. And when it's time to sell? Auction houses, not eBay. Trust me, the 2007 D Lincoln Memorial penny, yeah, that ordinary looking coin, could be worth $1.3 million. It might be hiding in your drawer, your glove box, or even in the couch cushions right now. The only thing standing between you and that money is knowledge. Go grab your old change jar and start looking. Your millionaire moment might just be one penny away. And hey, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a tip on coins that could change your life, because around here, every coin tells a story. And some stories are worth millions. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the coins in your pocket? I mean, really looked? Because what if I told you that a single penny, just one, minted in 2006 with a tiny D on it, could be worth $1.4 million? But grab your coffee, settle in, and stick around because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why this little copper coin has collectors fighting over it like it's made of solid gold. I've got a personal story in here that might make you rethink every handful of change you've ever spent on a vending machine. Let's dig into this treasure hunt now. The 2060 Lincoln Memorial penny might not stand out at first glance. It's got Abe Lincoln sitting proud, just like he has since 1959, and the familiar D-Mint mark just below the date, signifying it was struck in Denver. But here's where it gets interesting: not all 2060 pennies are created equal. Some of them, very, very few, have errors or characteristics so rare that collectors would give their right arm, or at least a big chunk of their bank account, just to own one. We're talking about coins with misaligned dies, double strikes, or off-metal errors. And in the case of this million-dollar marvel, it's believed to be a combination of multiple rare traits, including a deeply defined die clash and a highly unusual copper composition. It's not just age or rarity that makes a coin valuable. It's uniqueness, demand, and a little bit of mystery. And this 2060 has all three. Well, that's the twist in this story. You see, by 2006, the US Mint had already produced billions of Lincoln pennies. Coin collecting was alive and well, but most people overlooked modern pennies unless they were pristine or proof coins. That's what makes this story so crazy. The now famous $1.4 million 2060 penny wasn't discovered in a display case or from a collector's album. It was found in an ordinary roll of coins. Yep, just sitting there like it didn't have a care in the world. Can you imagine the heart-pounding moment when that person spotted something off? A glint of something different? A flaw that most would ignore. That moment changed their life. The specific details of this coin's discovery have been kept under wraps. The buyer and seller both agreed to confidentiality. That's only added fuel to the fire, making coin hunters more eager than ever to find another, and it's not impossible. Because if one got out, another one could be sitting in someone's jar of change right now, maybe even yours. Keep watching, because I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for. Alright, grab your magnifying glass. Here's your penny detective checklist. First, flip over your 2060 penny. You want to look at Lincoln's bust and the fields around it. If you notice any doubling on the date, especially the 2006, or the mint mark D looking unusually thick or shadowed, that's your first sign. Second, look at the reverse, the memorial building. Focus on the lines of the steps and the columns. Are they clean, or is there some strange doubling or blurring? Die clash marks. These happen when the dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like images of Lincoln's profile on the reverse or elements of the memorial on the front. Some of these rare coins also show planchet errors, like being struck on a bronze blank instead of a zinc one. That kind of off-metal error is extremely rare in modern pennies, and it's what pushed this coin's value over $1 million. Let me tell you a story that might make this all hit home. So a few years ago, I'm at a yard sale in Nebraska, helping a buddy clean out his dad's old barn. We're sorting through boxes, old baseball cards, some rusty tools, and then we come across an old Folgers coffee can filled with coins. I'm thinking, great, parking meter change. But he says, take it. I've got no use for pennies. Well, later that night, I'm watching a show about rare coins and get curious. I dump that can on the kitchen table, and guess what I find? A 1983 double die penny worth over $1,000. But that moment lit a fire in me. Ever since, I check every coin I come across, and yeah, I've had some solid finds. Nothing close to 1.4 million, yet. But it's that hope, that chase, that makes this hobby so dang fun, and the fact that you could be next? That's what keeps people hooked. And now, let's talk real money. As of this year, one verified specimen of the rare 2060 Lincoln penny is estimated at a market value of $1.4 million. That's more than most new houses in America. Supply and demand, my friend. There's only one confirmed specimen of this error. Combine that with its perfect condition and historical significance, and boom, you've got a coin that turns heads at every major auction. High-end collectors are always on the lookout for modern marvels, rare coins from the last 50 years that break the mold. The 2060 penny falls squarely into that category, and let's not forget the grading. This penny was graded at a near-perfect mint state, adding more fuel to the fire. There's always the chance that a second one exists. That's what keeps the collectors circling. That's what keeps the treasure hunt alive. Don't ignore those 2060 pennies. Don't let them slip through your fingers. Check every one. Look for errors. Look for doubling. And if you're not sure, take them to a coin dealer or get them graded, because that little brown coin you've been ignoring? It could buy you a mansion. And if this video opened your eyes, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and ring the bell so you never miss another tip. We talk rare coins, big values, and how to turn pocket change into life-changing cash. You never know which coin will make you a millionaire. So check your change, keep looking, and hey, maybe your story is the next one we feature.